Thank you. Now I call on the next speaker, Mr. Matsas, workers delegate from Cyprus, to come to the podium to address the conference. Also, may I ask Ms. Erisova, Deputy Minister of Labor and Social Protection from Russian Federation, to be ready to speak immediately after that. Now, floor is yours, Mr. Matsas.
Ladies and gentlemen, please allow me on behalf of the Cyprus Workers' Confederation to congratulate the ILO for choosing this very important topic for discussion, as well as the Director General for a most comprehensive report, setting footing for a genuine discussion under which social partners could promote socially justified approaches. Despite the fact that equality in employment is a long-lasting issue of concern and that numerous steps forward have been made and various strategies and legislative and policy measures have been introduced, promoted and implemented, there is still an evident distinction between theory and practice. It would not be an exaggeration to highlight the fact that the whole situation became even more difficult during the financial crisis, since women were much more affected and harmed in relation to employment, remunerations and fringe benefits, work-life balance and precarious and non-regulated employment. The ongoing growth and financial recovery indicate once again the need to set a more ambitious, yet again promising and well-necessary strategic plan in establishing a more applicable framework in support of equality and work-life balance issues. Indeed, the financial crisis has badly affected economic balances, but at the same time, it did harm regulation of the labour market, social policy and social justice. It goes without saying that the financial crisis itself, especially in countries like the Republic of Cyprus, having to undergo through a memorandum of understanding regulated by the Troika, could be an answer or partly the answer as to why things have slowed down on issues related to equality. However, this could also be just an excuse for not being able to move things distinctively forward, especially on enterprise level. Thus, unfortunately, we still seek to face realities which relate to the glass ceiling, the glass wall, the sticky floor and the glass cliff. At the same time, special note and concern should be given to challenges deriving from new forms of employment which promote further deregulation of the labour market, including atypical employment as well as digitalisation, an issue which needs much further and in-depth discussion, which seems to mainly affect women in the labour market, creating at the same time social isolation, further pay gap and less democracy in the labour market. If we need to refer to a number of good practices, please allow me to highlight a recent development resulting through bipartite and a prospective tripartite cooperation in Cyprus, leading to the design and to an agreement of a code soon to be incorporated in collective agreements dealing with tackling sexual harassment and violence in employment. More importantly, since it is clear throughout the whole report of the Director General that a push for equality is urgently needed, it is essential to indicate and promote specific measures in tackling the problem. We do not need, of course, to reinvent the wheel, but it would be helpful if we focus in designing and promoting specific in-house training and vocational programs, as well as research studies in an attempt to improve information spread and to create an appropriate culture. Deepen and widen the legal framework on equality. The European Commission proposed directive to support work-life balance for parents and carers needs to be adopted by the Council of the European Union in order to provide adequate solutions for the needs of modern societies. Provide a specific, tangible and attainable roadmap in achieving certain goals related to equality in employment, and governments and social partners should acquire a central role in designing and promoting social policies supported by public finances. Establish new and strengthen existing institutions, bodies and committees promoting and monitoring equality, involving social partners and the wider civil society, giving special emphasis in women's participation in order to be able to reach more balanced decisions, and of course include or improve equality issues and clauses in collective agreements and work-related arrangements. Madam Chair, after all, human nature does not change. change. But when people accept the same rules and the same institutions to make sure they are applied, their behavior towards each other changes. This is a process of civilization itself. Sustainability in employment and work needs a solid ground of policies promoting equality and equal opportunities between men and women, and of course, ending all forms of discrimination against women. Closing gender gaps in employment is a prerequisite in reaching decent work as a driver of sustainable development in the framework of the 2030 Agenda. In concluding, let us all realize that gender equality is not a woman's issue, but rather a concern to all, and it should go without saying that attaining gender parity does not lead to a zero-sum game, but it creates instead the necessary and appropriate conditions for establishing a more democratic and balanced society and labour market. The challenge is ahead, especially on EU level, and we need to put the European pillar of social rights in practice. At least it's worth a try in giving a new impetus and another push for equality. Thank you.
Thank you.